on to campaign scheduling. This is lesson 6 in module 4 of our training, and we're going to make sure that we now take control of the times of day that we show our ads. Quick recap. Previous 2 sessions we've been looking at campaign settings that are campaign specific. So we've been looking at how to target for different devices and how to target locations. So we only pay for the traffic that we really want. Now, we're going to do exactly the same for our ad scheduling. And Google AdWords is great for scheduling ads. You can choose to show ads for any hour of any day of the week or not. You can be as granular as a 1 hour increment if you wish, which is fantastic control. If you compare that to just about any other form of advertising, you will not find that level of granularity. This is awesomely powerful. So why schedule ads? Well, if you're a business that depends upon phone calls, you might only want to schedule ads when you can take a phone call. Sure, you can do an out-of-hours voicemail, and that may work in your business. You may be really good at picking up voicemails the following morning and dealing with them and converting those visitors, those calls, into prospects, but you might not. And so it's what's appropriate for your business. If you know you're best at converting people when you have them on the phone during your business hours, that's when you should show your ads. You risk missing out on those people who are browsing at a time of day that suits them. But if you know you can't convert them as well, that might be a price worth paying, and you spend more budget in the times of day where you've actually got the capacity to handle them. The other thing that we find as well, and this is a rule of thumb, it's market specific and even campaign specific and worth a test. But we generally find that inquiries that come in between sort of midnight and 6 a.m. are not as good, do not convert as well as inquiries that come in between sort of 7 and midnight. In fact, generally sort of 8 and 10 tends to be the best period. Now, it depends. If you're selling industrial supplies, office hours are generally going to work best. If you're an emergency business, out of hours is probably your best time of business. So use your common sense, think about your prospects, think about your customers. When are they likely to want to reach you? But if you're not sure and you're any kind of service or local area business, I would strongly suggest during the initial setup that you turn off overnight ads, certainly midnight to 6 a.m. You'll also find that some businesses perform better or worse at particular days of the week. You'll have busy days. An example here, taxis. Taxis do great on a Friday and Saturday night, not so much on a Monday night, or even worse, a Sunday morning. If you've ever tried to book a taxi for a Sunday morning, you'll know most people aren't interested because they're all asleep. Similarly, if you're a business-to-business supplier, you will probably find in most cases Friday afternoons are terrible because everyone's clearing their desk and thinking about things for the weekend. But that's an example. Every business is different. Know your customers, know your market. And if you don't know this, just start making some notes. Offline, keep a tally. When do you get inquiries? When do they turn into orders? And you'll see a pattern. AdWords will build you that pattern over time, but it will build you at the cost of spending money on ads. As we found with location and devices, we can bid up or down for certain times of day. So we can bid up by up to 900% above our base bid, and we can decrease our bid by up to 90%. What you'll see when you look at these 3 things together, we've had location, device, and now time of day, that it can all compound together. So you can make some pretty scary bid adjustments where the maths gets a little bit complicated at certain times of day if you choose to. I strongly suggest keep it simple. Try to avoid layering lots and lots of adjustments upon each other until you're really comfortable with the campaign performance. Example here of when you might want to do this, a bid adjustment. Let's say you're an optometrist office and you have walk-in appointments available over lunchtime. If you know there are nearby offices, workplaces where people are likely to come to a lunch break, you probably want to be bidding up between 11 and 2 because that's when people are likely to leave their office and go and get a walk-in appointment. Similar, so anywhere where there is a walk-in element with peak times, great for this kind of adjustment. So now let's have a look how we do this in real life. So we're coming back to back into our settings tab on our AdWords campaign. Remember, this is campaign by campaign. Each one can be different. If you want them to be the same, you have to do them multiple times. Come on to this settings tab and come to Add Schedule. And this gives us lots of control. To be honest, the interface here is not particularly clever, but we can do it anyway. It's a bit frustrating, but it's okay. So click on Add Schedule. Right, so we're going to create a custom schedule. I want to do Monday to Friday. I want 8 AM to 6 PM. We're only open weekdays and we're on Eastern time, and we're going to save that. And that's done. Our campaign is now set to run those hours. I can get really complicated with this, and I can close for lunch, open later on a Friday, and do all those kind of fun things. But that's it. That's as simple as it gets. You've got an ad schedule for that campaign. Your ads won't run outside those hours. When you're setting budgets, your budget, if you're on the setting which I recommended earlier in the training to show your ads evenly, it will now show them evenly over this period of time. So it will schedule them to go during those hours only. Hope that makes sense. And now, when you've got that in place, take a look at yours. Make appropriate adjustments to your campaign. If you're not sure, leave it as it is. Leave it 24/7 to start with. But if you've got any doubt at all, you think you're better in office hours, adjust it to your opening hours. Bye for now.